Hi, my name is Bob Hill, and I'm the president of the Church of Scientology Mission of Riverdale at 308 Broadview Avenue in Toronto. Today I'm going to do Sunday service for you, but I'm going to limit it to some very basic Scientology concepts and see if you can agree with them or disagree with them. So I'm going to give you the option to do that. But before I get into those concepts, so there's two references I'm going to take up, and I'm going to do them in reverse order. The first one is personal integrity, and I'm going to go over that with you, and then I'm going to read you the creed of the church, and I'm going to see from your perspective after hearing personal integrity if you can agree with it. Sound like a good idea? Great, here we go. So personal integrity. What is true for you is what you have observed yourself. It's what you see. And when you lose that, you've lost everything. What is personal integrity? Personal integrity is knowing what you know. Knowing what you know is, and to have the courage to know and say what you have observed. That's integrity. And there is no other integrity. So what you know is what you know, and having the courage to know and say what you have observed, that is integrity. So you have to apply that to yourself. You can't just operate off the fact that somebody says it, or I heard this, or that was said to me, so therefore it's true. What do you observe to be true? Maybe you observe today that I don't have much hair. Well, that's true. It's true for you. I don't have much hair. So, of course, we can talk about honor, truth, all these things, these esoteric terms. Esoteric means that they're only known by a few chosen people. But I think they'd all be covered very well if what we really observed was what we observed. That we took care to observe what we were observing, that we always observed to observe. So you observe not to validate your thoughts or to validate what you think is happening, but you observe to observe. You follow that? So you may be thinking, well, all apples are green, so when I look at apples, I have to find green apples or they're not apples. You're not observing what you're observing. You're observing only to validate your think. So you have to change that way of operating and look and see what you see. So, and not necessarily maintaining a skeptical attitude, a critical attitude, or an open mind, but certainly maintaining sufficient personal integrity and sufficient personal belief and confidence in self and courage that we can observe what we observe and say what we have observed. We bring up the word courage again. You have to be willing to observe what you observe. Sometimes it may not be pleasant. Sometimes it may be uncomfortable, but have the courage to observe what you observe. Nothing in Dianetics and Scientology is true for you unless you have observed it. And it is true according to your observation. So there you go. So basically, in Scientology, if it's not true for you, it's not true for you. So all these other ideas and that somehow you have to be made to think a certain way, that's not true. It's what you observe to be true. So with that said, I'm now going to read to you the creed of the Church of Scientology, and you can apply that last reference to the creed. Here we go. We of the church believe that all men of whatever race, color, or creed were created with equal rights. That all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance. That all men have inalienable rights to their own lives. That all men have inalienable rights to their sanity. Now, you see, if you allow these things to be that way, you would get rid of the conflict. You'd be willing to allow people to have the right to their own sanity. That all men have inalienable rights to their own defense. That all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments. That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others. Everyone has that right. I wouldn't expect you to come into Scientology and for you to suddenly have the same viewpoint of Scientology that I have, or to see what I see in Scientology. I've been in it for a long time, and I've read a lot of books, and I've observed what I've observed. However, you may have a completely different thoughts about it. You may have your own opinion about it. Well, you're entitled to that. Okay? You are entitled to think freely, to write freely, to have your own opinions, and to counter or utter right upon the opinions of others. If you don't like today's Sunday service, you can call me and say, Bob Hill, president of the church, I didn't like your Sunday service, I don't agree. Well, you have that right. Now, the next point, that all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind, that the souls of men have the rights of men, that the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields, and that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the church believe that man is basically good, that he is seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. And we of the church believe that the spirit can be saved, and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. So there you go, that's our creed. Now, if you're interested in Scientology, you have to take into account that when you're studying the materials of Scientology, it's up to you to look and see what you see with those materials. If we give you some information, you can observe what you observe. It's your choice. For more information about Scientology, obviously read some books, or listen to some lectures, or go online and look up the Scientology website and see what we're about. But the data's there for you. There is nothing hidden. It's not an all complicated thing. It's very uncomplicated. That's it for today's Sunday service. Thank you for coming out.